Hidely ho, gamerinos. This is Editing Dan, just wanting to say this video is just me going over plot points, what I thought was good, what I thought was pretty silly. So let me know what things I may have missed or what things you agree with or disagree with. I'll start off by saying I liked the movie, but it's a very fun yet flawed movie. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you know, you can watch the movie and then come back. If you're a Sonic fan, you should have watched it by now, but I just figured I'd say that before we start. Hi, I'm Dano the Artist, here to talk about the Sonic movie. It is currently 1:30 a.m. for me. I got back from the movie theater just a couple hours ago, and I needed to sit down and really get my thoughts together because walking out of the movie theater today, I was popping off first and foremost. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. Of course I'm going to talk about the fucking spoilers, dude. There's a shit ton to talk about, and we're just going to get into it. So, what were my thoughts? Positive, negative, kind of a mixed bag, but I will say mostly positive on the positive side. You can see the ship behind me. Big Sonic fan. Like, it's not even a question. Sonic Movie 1 came out. Obviously, there was all that shit about the fucked up design, the monstrosity that was design number 1. Sonic 1, I enjoyed. Saw that shit. Last movie I saw before COVID, so I did enjoy it for what it was. You know, there's some cringe, there's some flossing, whatever. Expect a rewatch video coming in about a week or so, give or take. What the fuck is it for the Sonic 2? Anyway, this movie I liked. There's a lot there that is pretty damn good, but we're just going to get into the plot synopsis here. So the idea is Eggman is back with the help of Knuckles. Knuckles is the protector of the Master Emerald, or in this case, he's just trying to find it. It's his sworn destiny to find the Master Emerald. So he comes to Earth with Robotnik, and they pull up to the nigga's crib, ready to hit the most devious lick, and that's when he exposition dumps about the Master Emerald, and Robotnik goes, Master Emerald, I see. So it becomes the MacGuffin chase movie. So there isn't really much in terms of a lot of structure. It's just go from set piece to set piece, a lot of action, stupid cringe jokes, and then there's supposed to be like a lesson at the end of the day, whatever. Friendship wins is the idea. But in terms of, I'd say it's the terms of what brings it all together, right? Moments where Sonic is on screen, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, I would say are the good parts. They give like 1/3 of the movie to the human characters, and that is when the movie is at its weakest. And I think everybody can sort of agree with that. But I will say what happens is the human characters from the first movie, they are going to a wedding for Rachel, you know, funny Rachel who got tied up in the first movie. She's getting married to sexy flexy black man from Criminal Minds, and they're doing that in Hawaii. Meanwhile, Sonic's supposed to be taking care of the house and the dog, which they completely forget about the dog. Who knows where the dog is? That dog could be dead. He gets hit up. Knock knock, it's Knuckles and Robotnik, and they pull up to the crib. Cool battle. Awesome. It was a lot of fun. Bam! Knuckles gets hit by a fucking car driven by Tails. There's some funny little moments here and there. They get away. They fly off into the distance, and Robotnik and Knuckles decide to, get back to square one. This is where things become just really blurred. I still once again, I'll just say I like the movie, but there are things that need to be pointed out here. I don't want to get into the Hawaii plot. I will just say the Hawaii plot gets into the movie. No, the Hawaii plot gets in the middle of things, and it just sort of breaks up the pace. But I understand why to a certain extent. They just could have condensed it more, or just taken out a couple of scenes. There are scenes where James Marsden is like, oh, I wonder how Sonic's doing. And it's like, okay, just shut the fuck up, do your guys' subplot, and then come back to it later. The whole idea is, the first time, is to call in and check up on Sonic, which doesn't need to happen. That didn't need to happen. Neither did the whole part where he tears the house apart. He could have literally just been watching movies with the dog, and then, you know, Knuckles and Robotnik pull up on him. But that didn't happen. They do like a whole montage where he's fucking up the house, whatever. Stuff like that could have been condensed, because then that part with James Marsden wouldn't have felt like it got intrusive, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have gotten intrusive. Because then they return to the whole Hawaii subplot again. James Marsden's like, I wonder how Sonic's doing, and then he does this stupid trick with like the wedding rings, because the little girl with the wedding rings just shows them to him, and they look like Sonic rings, so they get mixed up. And Rachel's like, well, Rachel fucking hates him, and she's like, hey, cracker, don't fuck my wedding up or else I'll lynch you. Then he fucks the wedding up. Big surprise. I actually thought it was kind of funny, whatever. But now back to the Sonic plot. He has to find where the Master Emerald is after Knuckles talked to him. So him and Tails return back to, I guess, Wade, the policeman. That still confuses me as to why they went to Wade. But then on the map that, what the fuck, Ravenclaw, you know, the owl bitch, there is a part of the map that he apparently has never touched before, because to his surprise he goes, oh, that thing, and touches the part that shows the Master Emerald, and then a fucking Star Wars hologram of Ravenbeak, I keep saying a different name, comes up, and she's like, I love you, Sonic. And it's cute. To be honest, that is cute, because like that is still his mother, and I think that's awesome. I still think that's really cool that they haven't dropped that and just like, whatever, fuck it. That's a thing. Okay, I tried to get past it, but it is just something that still bothered me, because I was like, bro, he touched this map like 5 million times in the last movie. How the fuck did he? Oh, I never rubbed it. I never rubbed it quite right to make that hologram pop off, you know what I mean? So that just seemed a little forced, and there's a couple things that seem a little forced, but we'll maybe get into that after. You have to go to Siberia, and he goes, so he uses one of his rings to go to Siberia. Tails has been spying on him this whole time, stalking him, and they go to Siberia, and it's still nighttime. Like, this is all in the span of 48 hours. So, you know, that's how long they were going to be in Hawaii for. And they get lost in a storm and stumble across, like, a cabin bar. So they do the bar scene again from the first movie, except it's instead him and Tails. And it's worse. I would say it's much worse. Instead of like, oh, we're having fun, instead it's a dance-off. But I would say, like, I understand the whole point of it. I think the big thing is like intent, right? So I understand that the intent behind that scene is they're in a sticky situation, they're gonna get thrown into the fire, they're literally going to die because they think they're monsters, so they have to get out of this jam with the dance-off because it's a Russian classic. I don't know, little forced, especially when it was like, oh no, we have to get the map back, and it's like, bro, in that first movie, in the bar scene, you could like stop time and go wedgie people, but in this you can't stop and just go get a fucking map. Now, mind you, they needed a place to stay for the night, so the idea is they had to resolve that. It wasn't like a thing, but that's something that passes your mind when you're watching and sort of pulls you out of it a little bit. And also, they're dancing to Uptown Funk. Like, as a Sonic fan, as a Sonic movie, it just is like, was that necessary? I don't know. It just could have been resolved in a different way and then shortened down the runtime, and maybe they could have fit something else that tightened their bond better, you know, more efficiently, whatever the word is. Anyway, cute though. After the whole bar scene's done and they've done the dance off and they won and they survived, Tails has to go get some sleep. He gives Tails a blanket, and then Tails' little two tails cover Sonic, and I thought that was really wholesome and cute. Like that's something that I think should have stayed, because that is like that's Sonic and Tails, man. That's them. They're buddies. You know what I mean? They're cute little kids. And well, that's the thing. The whole idea is that they're kids. They're still focusing on that whole coming of age aspect. So that's cool. I get that. It just seems like there wasn't enough time to put in place their friendship, whereas they could have made Sonic meet Tails earlier, maybe added a scene so that it wasn't so abrupt when he comes in and hits Knuckles with a fucking car and is like, hey, I'm Tails, and he's like, oh, whatever, and hops into the car. It just seemed really unnatural. I've never met you, stranger, but you're another furry animal. Let me join. It was just weird. But then, after that whole bar scene, they go into the mountains and they find the temple, where that is not where the Master Emerald is. That's where the compass is to find the Master Emerald. So now they can progress more of the Hawaii subplot. Hawaii subplot is, oh, it's time for the wedding, and now Sonic is chased by Eggman and Knuckles. Fight ensues. This is a cool moment. This is a cool moment that should have been in there no matter what. Knuckles and Sonic bond because they both dealt with loss, which I think is really cool. Knuckles has lost his tribe. They tell a lot of backstory behind that, as well as with the Master Emerald. And that's sort of where Tails, I think, falls flat. Is his sole purpose is exposition dump. Other than that, like, he has his friendship with Sonic, but because they didn't spend the movie focusing on purely that, and they made sure that they sped it up to get Knuckles involved, Tails just gets shoved to the side. I think that's kind of okay because Knuckles is fucking awesome. So Knuckles, as he is in the games, he's the last of his Echidna tribe. That's awesome. But the whole thing is, and why he has a distaste for Sonic and why he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, is because Ravenclaw, apparently her people, they've been at war with the Echidnas for a long time, and there was a power struggle because one of the Echidnas went mad with power with the Master Emerald, or the Chaos Emeralds, whatever, and the Echidnas turned the Chaos Emeralds into the Master Emerald. I'll get into that. That's a weird one too. And there's a really sick animated scene that describes that whole shit. Oh, I loved that. It was beautiful. Beautiful. But they get past that now because he's on Robotnik's side. They fight, whatever. They're going down, they're sledding down the mountains. It's cool. Snowboarding, whatever. But then Sonic loses all of his rings, so he can't just teleport. Tails he doesn't get knocked out yet, but he's about to get knocked out, and him and Knuckles have a talk about all of their loss. Him losing Ravenclaw and Knuckles losing his tribe. And there's a cool scene where it shows him as a kid where they were about to hit a lick on Sonic, and they weren't gonna hit a lick, but they were gonna fuck up Ravenclaw and Sonic, I think, so it's at the same time. So do you see baby Knuckles? He says, like, that's the last time I ever saw them. And it's the Mystic Ruins. It's the fucking Mystic Ruins, dude. That was super cool. And we're gonna get into the whole references thing later, but still, I like that because to me, as much as it's like, oh, it's a reference, it's like, well, no, they are focusing on the world building. It's just dependent on what they do with it. It's been announced that there's gonna be a Knuckles show, so clearly they're going to take from that, right? I would assume. And if they don't, then hey, then we can shit on this for just being a soulless cash grab with a bunch of references and nostalgia baiting. But for now, we don't know. And for how I feel about it, I think it's fine because I think what they're trying to do is establish something. But point is, then Tails is like, think fast, bitch, and like ties him up with one of his gadgets, and he's like, you tricked me. So Knuckles is also clearly written as somebody with a very strong moral code, honor. It's cool because they really sink into the whole tribe mentality, which I don't even think they really do that much in the games. Maybe in the comics, but I never really read them. Maybe one day. But this is sort of where the problem sticks, is in doing this, yes, you built Knuckles' character and it's awesome, but yeah, they go to this place to go get the compass to get to the Master Emerald, whereas they could have just made it them getting to the Master Emerald and making it a longer trek. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? So now they're going down the mountain, bam, after Robotnik and him are about to leave, they have now successfully hit the lick. They have got the compass from Sonic and Tails, knocked out Tails in the process. Here comes an avalanche. So now Sonic is sledding, running away from the avalanche. Sonic Adventure. He decides to FaceTime James Marsden because I guess he has an iPhone, which is funny. And he FaceTimes James Marsden and he's in the middle of the wedding, so he's fucking up the wedding. Rachel's mad, duh. And he's like, yeah, I need you to throw this ring right now, bro. Like, just see where I am. And he shows him and he's like, just imagine that and throw it. Throws the ring. Oh shit, it's the fucking wedding ring. It's not the Sonic ring. And he sees that sexy flexy, light-skinned ass motherfucking criminal minds guy is about to put the ring on it. You know what I'm saying? He liked it, so he put the ring on it. Then he goes, punches the guy in the face, takes the ring, yeets it, and there you see the scene that's in the trailer. They come through. Then this is where like the two things converge, sort of. It's crazy to me because like this, you would think, oh, this is the end, you know what I mean? This is the end of the show, the movie, climax, they ruined the wedding. But like, no, that's like the halfway point. This isn't even close to the climax. There's like 3 climaxes, and I guess the whole point is like rising, and then, you know, the end, whatever. But it's just like it's like going back and forth, like the whiplash of it, you know what I mean? Because then bam, they've warped to Hawaii. And this is where cool implementation, but really fucking dumb. Turns out the wedding was all a ruse. This light-skinned ass motherfucker never loved Rachel. He is a agent for none other than Gun from Sonic Adventure 2. So after the whole Eggman fiasco and he gets teleported to Mushroom World, they've banded gun. It is now a thing. Then they capture Sonic and Tails. I don't know her name, but James Marsden's love interest and Rachel have to break in to go save them. Apparently James Marsden's with them too. I don't really remember that part. In the meantime, Rachel gives Criminal Minds Man a piece of her mind, and there's some fun. I will say, because this part drags on, right? This part like does drag on. I'm gonna be real. I thought it was really funny. Like I actually thought that part was really funny. There were some really funny moments in it. This movie is long, 2 hours, so they could have cut it down. And it's weird because and I don't think anybody's really talking about this. I feel like they cut down on editing parts to make things snappier and faster. But at the start especially, there's some scenes that just are a little bit jarring. Obviously, like I can't show any of this on screen, but just scenes that make things feel more fluid. Like if I'm at this angle and I turn this way and I go to touch the piano, the next scene is going to have me still moving into position to move my hands on this piano, right? But what would happen is they would cut halfway into the movement or just at the start of the movement, and then the next scene is just them playing the piano. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, very minor, but to me, being an editor, it's just stuff that I noticed, and especially with CG characters, it feels a little uncanny. It's like a small tidbit, but it's something that instead of cutting those corners, just cut out some scenes. Cut out some of the fucking Hawaii shit, man. Because then after, I had to say that because that is a big fundamental problem with this movie is a lot of their priorities for scenes, they overtake priorities for making a consistent flow. So then Rachel and light-skinned Criminal Minds Man make up, and he's like, bitch, my light-skinned ass loves you. It's funny because I'm the light-skinned one. I'm more light-skinned than him, but you get the point. Then they actually are in love. Yahoo! But then the whole thing gets resolved. They do an espionage mission, and they break in and they save Sonic and Tails. Great. Meanwhile, Knuckles and Robotnik are breaking into Labyrinth Zone, which was pretty fucking cool. I noticed it and I wasn't sure until the end when I was like, and they were showing like the end credits stuff. It was absolutely Labyrinth Zone, which was fucking dope. But they're breaking in, they're about to get the Master Emerald. Cool. Sonic, on the other hand, has to face his fear. They set up at the start of the movie that he can't swim because he falls out of the boat with James Marsden. So he's like, fuck it, I gotta do this, and I'm not gonna let anybody else get hurt because he already let Tails get hurt. Runs over to the island where, and this is a big plot point here, from Hawaii where he warped, he can see the blast from the Master Emerald because like wherever their compass thing, it set off a beam. Anyway, I know I'm all over the place here, but there are some issues with this. First off, what the fuck are the odds that on planet Earth, the one place that the Master Emerald was just so happened to be in a visible distance from where Sonic warped to, all the way from fucking Siberia? That's the thing. It's not like this is all contained in one spot. It's like, well, he literally warped from Siberia. Like it was just luck. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that was very convenient. Aside from that, the other thing that I just want to point out while it's on my mind, so the gun agents, I didn't even fucking think about that. The whole plot point about the gun agents is so fundamentally flawed. It blew my mind then because I'm like, oh shit, gun. And I think that's the whole thing is they're like, if we say it's gun, the Sonic fans are gonna get a boner. And yeah, I got a boner, but like it's very short-lived when I think about the context of everything, because then I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck were they doing at this wedding? Why the fuck did he need to put Rachel on a ruse when Rachel is like a, what is it, 3 degrees, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? She's on that 6th degree. You know what I'm talking about? Like, she's what, her sister, the black bitch's sister? Why, if they've been trying to capture Sonic this whole time, at the start of the movie, starts off with Sonic in Seattle, and he goes and tries to stop like a robbery or some shit. Why the fuck didn't they get him during the robbery? They weren't following him, they were following Rachel? It doesn't make sense. And the odds of, once again, of him warping to Hawaii were like 1 in a million. It just was a very forced aspect of the plot that was just like, well, it it wouldn't have mattered. They literally could have just not had that whole scene happen. At all, actually, now that I think about it. Gun shows up later in the movie. They could have just pulled up. They literally could have just pulled up at the end of the movie. You see the gun logo or something, you know, the car pulls up and just gun, and you're like, and I would have popped off. I would have had a moment. I just had like Glock 3000 moment. But anyway, they could have done that. They didn't have to have the whole secret spy thing. Sorry, we were spying on you guys this whole time, because it just didn't make sense. They didn't have to break in to save Sonic and Tails. That part actually could have been completely wiped away. The marriage could have went on, or it could have been ruined, and it would have been just fine. It would have been just fine. They could have maybe even still got away with the whole, holy shit, I see the beam of light over there. Time to run. And then he runs. And then Tails wakes up after and is like, I gotta go save my friend. Because then, yeah, he pulls up later with the plane. Cool. Now he goes through Labyrinth, zooms in, and he meets with Knuckles. Okay, Knuckles and him fight. It's fucking awesome. Once again, Knuckles is the star of the show here. Knuckles is great. He is awesome. But he doesn't know how to have fun. That's a thing that'll come up in the end. Now he realizes, uh-oh, Eggman was tricking me. And then Eggman now is super, and his suit changes, and it's really fucking cool. His assistant, Agent Stone, the big simpa. Yeah, Agent Stone is funny. That's a good one. I liked that a lot. He's always funny. He was funny in the first one. I always thought he had like those super gay vibes, and now it's like very apparent. He made a latte with their faces on it. Anyway, yeah. So now that's happened, and then Sonic and Knuckles make up. They have a cute little sequence where they're underwater, and Sonic, in order to get an air bubble, he goes the whoop whoop, and he like eats the bubble of water, air. That was cool. That was really cool. Nice implementation. Water's really good, man. Now is the finale. Now is the finale that you were waiting for. You see the Death Egg robot, all that shit, because he has taken the Master Emerald, Eggman. It's now become a part of him, fused with him basically, and now he can use it as like a Magneto-esque thing and build a giant-ass robot, and he controls it like a fucking Gundam motherfucking Neon Genesis Evangelion. This is what I'm saying is where Gun could have just pulled up. Gun could have pulled up and been like, we're Gun, and show their badges, whatever. Yeah, it would have been just the exact same. Leave a comment if that's not the case, but this is where the movie is fucking awesome. This is where I think the movie shines the most, is in this last little part. They're losing to Eggman, but now Tails, Sonic, and Knuckles are working as a team, and it's awesome. They're versing him, they're having these little quips, whatever. It's not always perfect, but it's cool. It's just great. Good action, whatever, stakes. And then James Marsden and the girl, I'm sorry, I just don't know her name. They pull up to come save him because he's on wit's end. He's about to lose. He's about to get fucking stomped on. And they're like, it's okay, we love you. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, he doesn't need to have the whole family dynamic, but like, I get it because they've clearly set it up. Family and friendship is very important. And that's a truth of like the Sonic franchise. Friendship is like a big thing since the Adventure series, Heroes, all of them, man. It's always been a thing about friendship. And clearly that was also the case with the original Sonic 2. Him and Tails are best buds, and that's just how it is. Did he have to have that dynamic with James Marsden and the chick? I don't think so, but clearly they already spent the time setting it up in the first one. It would be very jarring to just drop that entirely and leave it out. They're like, okay, we're gonna die together. They do break in to the Death Egg robot, and Knuckles and Tails, they do it together. And Knuckles punches the Master Emerald out of Eggman. Falls down, whatever. Sonic can try and grab it. He finally gets a hold of it, and it shatters in his fucking hands. But when it shatters, out comes the 7 Chaos Emeralds. Now this is the part where I got very confused because the rules of the Chaos Emeralds is now more confusing than it ever was. Whereas in the games, it's like you have the 7 Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald. And then if you want to say Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there's also the Super Emeralds. But the Master Emeralds, or the Chaos Emeralds, sorry, they instead, I guess, fused into the Master Emerald, and then when it shattered, they all pop out. Okay. Here comes the big spoilers. Bam, they all pop out. They're about to die. They get stomped on. And he's Supersonic. Live and Learn does not play, by the way. Supersonic. Yeah. There's nothing else that has to be said. I'm not going to ruin anything else. Just Supersonic. And they win. He kicks Eggman's ass. Effectively, there's no sign of Eggman. He might be dead. Jim Carrey says he's retiring after this movie. Apparently he doesn't really like to do sequels, so I could see it happening where this is just where it ends, and that's okay. I'm okay with that, right? However, things are just getting started. So he's effectively beat Eggman. It's over. Now they can live their lives in Green Hills with James Marsden and that chick. I'm sorry. And they have a cool baseball scene. It's a little jarring because Knuckles this entire movie has been very stoic, very about honor, you know what I mean, all that stuff. And now I guess he's trying to learn how to relax and unwind a little bit and have fun and get a little zany in making it so that he's unadjusted to a non-hostile environment. They kind of make him like an oaf. And not like how he is in the Sonic franchise right now. Just more like he's like, what is this base of the ball you speak of? And it's like, why all of a sudden did he turn into Starfire? May I have an ice of the cream, please? It's like, I don't know. It was funny. It gave me a good chuckle because I'm like, oh, you said it funny. But it's like, well, he didn't do that for the entire rest of the movie. You know what I mean? So yeah, it felt a little off. But either way, it was cool. He fuses back the Master Emerald, but this is the thing. When Sonic stops being super, all of the emeralds come out of him, but it's not like, you know, in most of the games they shoot out like the Dragon Balls. When he finishes his final smash, they all just shoot out into the distance. It's really cool. They don't do that, and I really wanted the satisfaction of seeing them go into the sky and just shoot off all across the world. Now there might be a reason why they don't do that, but they just go into the heavens and then you just don't see them. They're just off screen. They don't go back into the Master Emerald though. Master Emerald was shattered. Knuckles fuses it back together just like he does in the games. We know that from the Adventure franchise. So now comes the final scene. They had talked about, this is the one thing I think in the Hawaii scene that they had talked about, because they assumed Eggman was dead. They raided his premises, all of his stuff, and you know, they have the 411 on him. The end credits scene. I'm sure it's what everybody expected. My assumption was either Metal Sonic or Shadow the Hedgehog, and it was Shadow, and holy fuck, they're doing it. They're doing Shadow. I'm absolutely fucking there for it. I'm super excited. How that's gonna go, maybe that's a conversation for another day. Maybe I'll leave that for the end. But for now, I will say this. The way that they led up to that, because it's Gunn, right? They're like, yeah, we found through his database a mysterious project from 50 years ago. And as soon as they said 50 years ago, I was like, it's happening. Like, I was in my seat and I'm like, holy shit. And I think anybody can agree that is like a yes. And they show it. I was expecting they just show the shoes or something, right? They fucking showed it. And they show him and he opens his eyes and they're red. And I'm like, God, who's gonna voice him? Who's gonna fucking voice Shadow? Who knows? But anyway, aside from that point, I think there were just a couple more things that I wanted to address. Obviously, that Master Emerald, Chaos Emerald thing confuses me because now I'm wondering if the Chaos Emeralds went into the sky and Knuckles was able to fuse the Master Emerald again. They kind of established at the start that the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald, the Master Emerald was made from the Chaos Emeralds. So now without them, is it still the same? Are they just retconning that? Are they just ignoring it? Because to me, that's flawed logic. But map hologram was really just forced. The idea that they could see the beam from Hawaii, like, I get it, it was off the coast and it's the Pacific, so it's actually the most open area of ocean, so odds are they would see it from Hawaii. Just still felt a little forced to me. Dislikes of the movie were all of those, and I think Tails is very weak, and it was a little disappointing because he was the end credits thing. It was like, okay, there's another movie in the works, this is exciting, Tails is coming, and he really gets shoved off to the side as the navigator, you know what I mean? And that's sort of what he is, but that's not what he is. That's not what he is. He's the sidekick. And of course they lean into the whole he tinkers with stuff, and that helps with the Rachel and other chick side quest. Rachel's the only name that I know because she's so essential to the plot for some fucking reason. But with that being said, I think the biggest issues are some pacing issues. It doesn't really feel like there's a 3-act structure. It's just an adventure. It's just an adventure. And at that point, I think it's like, I don't think it has to be confined by like a classic 3-act structure when it's, and I'm sorry, a kid's movie, B, a movie about Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know, man. Like, to me, it felt right to me. So that's why I'm saying, like, there are these things that are wrong with the film, in my opinion, at least. Yeah, it still was a movie I very much enjoyed, and I'm excited because I might get to see it again. Oh, my other fucking thing that I haven't mentioned yet, references. Holy fuck. I think that's the only thing that's fucking annoying, and like I'm very adamant about it, is, you know, Eggman pulls up to the Siberian temple and he goes like, your Uber is here, and then it's like Wade is like, oh, like a Pillsbury Doughboy or whatever the fuck, or, you know, the Ghostbusters Doughboy, And it's like, oh, hey, it's the Winter Soldier. And it's like, I get that Sonic is like a quippy character. He's always gonna have some shit to say, some smart ass shit to say. But I think there's a difference between smart ass shit to say and like reference humor. That's a reference. There's the funny. And it's like, that's not really the funny, man. Like it's kind of far from it. Oh, and Eggman flosses. Sonic movie good. If you want me to give it a number ranking, I would give it like a 6 to a 7 out of 10. I do think fundamentally it's a good movie though. There's just a lot wrong with it. I don't know. It's a very flawed movie that I enjoyed very much, and I enjoyed it because I think the focus on Sonic and his friends made it more of a Sonic movie. It's not just like, because here's the thing, right? A lot of the events of the first movie, you could replace Sonic with any fucking animal humanoid character, and it wouldn't fucking matter. This movie was a Sonic movie, and I can't wait to see what they do next with Sonic Movie 3: Adventure 2 Battle. Yeah, and that's it. Those are my thoughts. Have you seen the movie? Have you not? If you haven't, and you don't like my opinion, you can go fuck off and go watch the movie, because that's fucking stupid. Oh, yeah. And who the fuck were those humans at the start in the mushroom thing? There were humans in a kid in a costume. They go flying into the mushroom realm, and then Knuckles comes out of the portal and he doesn't fuck with Knuckles. Who were those people? It never explains that. That is something that like confused me the entire time I watched the movie. I was thinking about it till the very end. I was like, who the fuck were those people? Also, Tails got bullied. That was kind of funny. Anyway, that's my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie. I wanted to get my thoughts out in a very unorganized manner and have it ready for Sonic Month because, hey, it's Sonic Month and Sonic Movie 2 came out, and I didn't even plan for that. So, yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys when Sonic Movie 3 comes out in like 2 to 3 years. Bye-bye.